Thank you for joining me here this afternoon. The time is now 3:28 p.m. Central, and we have ourselves potential Tropical Cyclone 9, soon to be Major Hurricane Helen. Today we're going to be breaking down everything that you need to know about this tropical system, and we're also briefly going to be touching on how our hurricane out here in the Pacific could end up being quite a bit more intense and special than we originally thought. So let's go ahead and start off, though, with Helen here, alright? It is officially now potential Tropical Cyclone 9. Now, we are expecting this to be Tropical Depression 9 by later this evening. Hopefully, if we do another stream tonight, this will be Tropical Depression 9 by then, or I shouldn't say it that way, but hopefully we have another stream tonight, and if we do, it will be Tropical Depression 9 by then, most likely. We're not hoping that this becomes strong, but hopefully we do another stream tonight is what I meant. And we are expecting this to become Hurricane Helen very, very soon, maybe as early as Wednesday morning, Tuesday night. And after that, it's going to quickly intensify even further. Now, it's showing a high-end Category 2 hurricane here by 7 a.m. on what is Thursday there. And we don't see anything between Thursday and the weekend, but if we did, it would likely show a Category 3 or a Category 4 hurricane. And again, right now, the National Hurricane Center says that this is going to make landfall in the Big Bend of Florida in a very similar area to where Hurricane Debbie did. So that would be very concerning. Now, we're expecting this to maintain tropical storm strength and conditions all the way through the entire state of Georgia, pretty much. And then it's going to curve northwestward and head into portions of the Ohio Valley. So that is the track from the National Hurricane Center that we have there. That's the new information. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at the model intensity guidance, we are seeing something extremely concerning and something that we have not seen this year other than with Beryl. Two of our members here are pushing this to a Category 5 hurricane. Now, I'm not saying that's the most likely scenario here. In fact, there's only a couple of members showing that. Well, most of them put this at its strongest point somewhere in the low to mid-range Category 2 area. There's several that go for a Category 3. I think that's probably Cat 3 or Cat 4. Probably Category 4 is the most likely there. But again, it cannot be completely ruled out that we see a Category 5 make landfall with this system. So I just wanted to make that clear. We've got that. We've also got the GFS ensembles here. This gives us a decent idea of where it is going to make landfall. Right now, they're saying anywhere really between the Gulfport, Mississippi area all the way back through Tampa, Florida is a potential landfall zone. But again, the most likely scenario is that this makes landfall in the Big Bend of Florida here as a strong hurricane, again, likely. So, very concerning stuff. If we go and take a look at the hurricane models here, we can see there's a lot less messiness. There's a lot more agreeance here. They're saying that this is either going to make landfall in the Big Bend of Florida or in the Panhandle of Florida. Again, most of them are saying in the Big Bend there, in the western part. So, again, that's kind of the basic information with this. I'm going to go and pull up Stream Chat. If anybody has any questions about their location, make sure to leave those down below. We're going to go through model guidance and everything right after this, but I just want to quickly pull up this stream and see if anybody has any questions at all. What's up, Sam, Airborne, Sanja? How's it going? Good to see the usual crowd here. Last night's stream was epic. We gained almost 30 subscribers yesterday. That was insane. Again, we're trying to hit 1,500 by Halloween. At this point, we could probably hit 1,500 by, like, mid-October, but we're still going to make it 1,500 by Halloween in case the channel slows down. Obviously, it's been a wild couple of days, but anyway, again, I just wanted to quickly thank you all for all that. So, let's go on to the models. Let's check some model agreements here. So, this is the newest run of the GFS. This is the 12Z, if it would like to load. The 12Z GFS and all the GFS runs for this entire system's history have been very concerning. They're saying that it is going to rapidly intensify whenever it enters the Gulf. Now, the 12Z run's being a little bit more conservative with the strength of this system, saying that we'll see like a 947 millibar low-pressure system make landfall. That would be, again, likely a Category 3 hurricane, maybe into low-end Category 4 hurricane territory. It has this thing shooting into the Big Bend of Florida, right where Debbie and even Idalia made landfall. And then entering portions of Georgia, still likely as a strong hurricane there. And the GFS, interestingly enough, does not have this curving west like the National Hurricane Center and a lot of our other models do. It's saying that it's just going to ride up the East Coast here through Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia. So that would be interesting. This would obviously be kind of a worst case scenario here. So the European model is being a lot more conservative with the strength, all right? We mentioned how that was a more conservative run of the GFS. Well, the Europeans being even more conservative with the strength. They're saying that this will only become a Category 1 or a low-end Category 2 hurricane as a landfalling 982 millibar low-pressure system. And if that were to happen, that would be a best-case scenario. Now, it's still going to be the same area that makes landfall in, but again, much, much weaker, much, again, less intense outcomes as a result. Now, the Canadian is kind of right in between the two. It's showing likely a Category 2 hurricane here, mid-range Category 2 at a 975 millibar low-pressure system landfall there. A little bit further west, kind of like the National Hurricane Center was saying there, in the western part of the Big Bend of Florida, then tracking up through Georgia, and the Canadian model does have it curving west and impacting parts of the Ohio Valley in the Midwest, bringing heavy to torrential rain. So that's the model guidance there. Let me get the stream chat back up. Just a minute here. You just ended. Second time you're going to get hit by hurricane remnants this year. Check HAFSB model is so concerning. Okay. We'll go ahead and bring that up then. Alright, let's see what this does here. So, this is one of our hurricane models. Yeah, that's not good. What in the actual... Okay, that's not happening. I want to make this clear. This is not happening. But, if this were to happen, this would be the strongest hurricane we've seen in, close to history. That is not happening. I repeat, that is not happening. But if that were to happen, that would be catastrophic with a capital C. Dude. And then it has it still being like a hurricane all the way into like Tennessee. And even like a tropical storm into like the Midwest. That's insane. That is wild. Again, that's not a likely scenario, but that's crazy. Usually the hurricane models kind of overdo it with the strength, but they're pretty spot on with the track. So that's something to take away from that. Again, a lot of agreements that it's either going to be in the central part of the Florida Big Bend or the western part, somewhere in this area here. Bro, my reaction was wild. I just went silent. I was shocked, bro. So, I did this last time, yesterday. We're going to go over the landfall likelihood. So, if you are in this yellow area, there's a low chance that we see a landfall from this system here in your region. There's a low chance of it. Can't completely rule it out, but there's a low chance. Not a high chance by any means. So, orange zone, that's the area where, okay, there's a medium chance per se that you see a landfall from this system. The red zone is going to be the area where a landfall is definitely possible and almost likely, but the pink zone is where I think the most likely landfall is for this system here, right there, again, in the western part of the Florida Big Bend. What will Abbeville, South Carolina experience? I mean, the National Hurricane Center says that it could legitimately still be a tropical storm, low end, granted, by the time it gets to you. So if that were to happen, that would bring torrential rain, some damaging winds. But either way, honestly, we're probably going to see tornadoes in your area, whether this is a tropical storm or not. Or at least the potential for some tornadoes and some tornado warnings. Especially if this system does go a little bit west of you, because usually it's areas east of the eye wall that see the most tornadoes with tropical systems. If we go ahead and bring up the excessive rainfall outlook here, we can see that right now they already have a day 4 moderate risk of flash flooding out for portions of Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. Now, this includes the city of Tallahassee. Again, Tallahassee may be the hotspot here, but it includes Tallahassee, Valdosta, and Albany in the southeast side of Dothan, Alabama. Now, this will almost 100% get upgraded to a high risk, which is the highest level on the excessive rainfall outlook scale, and that would obviously be devastating. And again, I think it's going to happen. Day 4 moderate risks are extremely rare, and they usually end up being high risks on day 1. Now, the day 5 outlook is showing a slight risk of flash flooding for portions of Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. Now, honestly, this area needs the rain, but they may end up getting a little bit too much rain. So, again, excessive rainfall outlook, slight risk on day 5, which again would be Friday. So if you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below. I know we got a lot of viewers in the southeast. And don't be scared, be prepared. I don't, obviously, no evacuation orders or anything are in effect yet, but expect some if you're in the Big Bend or the Panhandle of Florida very, very soon. And this red zone's the cone of uncertainty. This hurricane, or soon-to-be hurricane, could go anywhere in this red area. The eye wall could, that is. Even if you're outside of the cone, you could still definitely see some impacts. Yeah, not a high risk of severe weather, a high risk of flash flooding, potentially. So, this is not related to this tropical system, but it is worth noting that we do have a severe weather threat today in parts of the mid-Mississippi River Valley. We have a 20% chance of seeing a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch for portions of northeast Arkansas, southeast Missouri, southern Illinois, southwest Indiana, western Kentucky, northwest Mississippi, and northwest Tennessee between now and 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you're in this area, again, watch out. A localized severe risk evolving late this afternoon into this evening will occur. Again, we can actually not rule out a couple of tornadoes today. It's a very localized and small risk. However, it is there. 2% tornado risk going out for portions of, again, a lot of the same areas that we just mentioned. They're northeast Arkansas, southeast Missouri, southern Illinois, southwest Indiana, northwest Tennessee, and western Kentucky. That includes the cities of Evansville, Indiana, Clarksville, Tennessee, Owensboro, Kentucky, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and Hopkinsville, Kentucky. So, anyway, again, it would just be like a brief spin up. If anything, it's not going to be any sort of major tornado risk, but we do have a damaging wind and hail risk too, spanning across parts of the Mississippi Valley. One of them shows an 888, Mr. Strum. We just went over it. One of them shows an 888 millibar low, which is insane. But again, that's not happening. I want to make that clear. That is not even really in the realm of possibilities. An 888 millibar low pressure system would be the strongest, or one of the strongest hurricanes ever to make landfall in the United States. It would be historic, to say the least. It was like it's the HAFSB. Again, that would be very well a Category 5. So, again, even even on Tropical Tidbits, some of our members now are saying that we could get to Category 5 intensity at landfall with this system. So, again, that's something to look out for. Again, most of them are saying it's going to be a Category 2. Some are saying Cat 3, Cat 4. So, we'll see. Again, I think Cat 4 is most likely, honestly. That would be my guess. If I had to guess right now, if somebody held me at gunpoint, I said, what category will this be whenever it makes landfall? I'd say Cat 4. And again, we can't really see what the National Hurricane Center thinks, unfortunately. We'll be able to see in a couple of days. But considering it's already as high as a Category 2 can be without being a Cat 3, well into the Gulf, again, by the time it gets to the Florida Big Bend, it's going to be very, very, very strong. But again, a marginal risk of severe weather today for parts of South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, and Arkansas. Again, we've got ourselves a really large marginal risk there. We've got over 12 million people in that marginal risk. Oh, yeah, definitely, Sam. In fact, I'd go as far to say as a major hurricane is likely out of this. Again, I'm not saying that to panic anybody. I'm not trying to fearmonger or hype this up, but That's just my personal belief. And if this were to happen, guys, I would get some pretty cool impacts from this. So if it curves back up here in the Midwest, I'm seeing some rain today. I'm seeing a ton of rain today, actually. It's just tacked onto the horrendous flooding. But that would bring this system right up into my neck of the woods. So again, we would definitely have some content out for that. Especially if it's still a tropical depression by the time it gets to me. Like they're saying is maybe possible, but maybe it's only a post-tropical cyclone by the time it gets into Illinois. Only a tropical depression in Indiana. But anyway. If we go and take a look at the ARRR model here for today's event, again, we got some pop-up stronger severe storms in parts of Kentucky and Tennessee right now, but the real show gets going here really within the next couple of hours. They're saying, this was the outlook for 3 p.m. Central. Some storms in Arkansas, 4 p.m. they become severe. 5 p.m. they maybe become tornadic. Again, that's a big maybe. But again, the SPC does highlight a 2% tornado risk out for this area here for parts of Arkansas and Missouri. By 6 and 7 p.m., the tornado threat continues. Very small tornado threat continues. 8 and 9 p.m., honestly, this turns into mainly just a damaging wind threat. But, yeah. I just realized we're looking at the NAM, not the ARRR. It says ARRR up here, but this is the NAM. Definitely. Okay, well, let's actually look at the ARRR this time. We're not. Is this the ARRR? So confused. This is not the ARRR. This is the NAM. I'm so confused right now. I don't know why it's doing that. That's really weird. Oh well. I guess I'll bring up the ARRR on your screen like this. Okay. If it would like to load, there we go. The ARRR, again, showing some scattered strong to severe storms in parts of Missouri, and that's what happened. 4 p.m., they're saying we get some pop-ups in Arkansas. Northern Arkansas, again, by 5 p.m., they become severe. 6 p.m., maybe tornadic along the Arkansas-Missouri state line, and then that just continues into the evening time hours. So, yeah, I actually think that the greatest area for a severe weather threat today would be like southeast Missouri into southwest Illinois. Both the ARRR and the NAM are showing some intense storms rolling through this area. Like, look at that. Like, especially for a hail and wind threat. That'd be pretty big. Yeah, at this point, the threat is past Fort Smith. You're not going to see anything extra if you're in Fort Smith at this point, probably. It's mainly going to be northeast of you that we see the problems into, like, Missouri and Illinois, back into the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. So again, if you're just not tuning in, we're doing an update on potential Tropical Cyclone 9, soon to be Major Hurricane Helen, most likely. If you have any questions about your location, feel free to leave those down below. Yeah, again, this is, I don't even remember what the name of this one was, but this was expected to become a low-end hurricane. John, that's what it is. Right now, it's a hurricane already, and out of nowhere, we're expecting a Cat 3 landfall. Now, I don't know if you guys remember last year, but we had Acapulco, Mexico, take a direct hit from a massive Cat 5 hurricane when we were expecting a Category 1 landfall. We had another thing like that, except for a Category 4 landfall in the same year. I'm not saying that's going to happen, especially on a La Nina rather than an El Nino, but it could. So again, I imagine evacuation orders are already being put in place for this area. Again, we don't really cover Mexico, but your computer crashed? Dang. Like, it's broken? By the way, SSTs are baking in the Gulf, as always, this time of year. But especially this year, SSTs are baking, so this hurricane is going to have dangerously warm waters to travel through, and that's obviously not a good thing. It's only going to make this hurricane stronger. And again, it could strengthen all the way up until landfall. It's a possibility. So, I appreciate all the new viewers that are here. If you just joined from Max's raid last night, you probably didn't get to learn a lot about me, but I'm Dave Says Weather. I do weather, and I stream pretty much every day. Make videos whenever I don't stream, so if you like that kind of stuff, again, hopefully you'll join me for the ride here. Obviously, Max is a huge inspiration to me. That meant a lot whenever he raided me last night. That was awesome. But anyway, I'll quit simping for Max. You guys are awesome. Anyway, I'll shut up. $5 p.m. advisory. Is it actually out? Let's see here. I don't have it. I still have it. Mine says 11 a.m. Yeah, definitely can't rule it out, Mr. Stormy, and I think Cat 4 is most likely. I wouldn't rule out a Cat 5, though. So, we'll see. So, any second. Yeah, it'll be out very soon here. While we wait, can kind of just check up on some of these storms in Kentucky. Again, none of them are really that impressive. Let's check Arkansas real quick. So storms are developing in Arkansas, like we were expecting. So we'll see those intensify here over the next couple of hours as they enter Missouri. And we'll probably, unfortunately, see some interesting stuff go down. Again, mainly in terms of a wind and a hail threat, but with those storms, we can't rule out an isolated tornado. So, we'll see. But anyway, it's like my famous quote. But anyway, I'd also like to mention, folks, we've got another code red in the Atlantic. I saw this last night I think it was, and I just freaked out. We've got another code red. Again, this is looking like it's going to be a fish storm, but 70% chance that this develops into a tropical depression or stronger within the next 7 days, and a 20% chance that happens even within the next 48 hours. So that's definitely a dangerous looking system. And again, hopefully it's just going to be a fish storm, although some of the Antilles, Bermuda may have to look out. Again, we're not too certain on the exact details with that yet. We still got a while to go until that is in the near future, but we'll see more information come out about that over the next several days. So we'll have better and more accurate forecast for you then. May even have a stream out for it. If not, just like a Tropic Talks episode. But the GFS and all the models really have been pretty consistent with this one too, just like they have with, again, PTC 9. Right now, the GFS is saying it's going to be pretty weak, but before I was saying it could become just as strong as this one even, or stronger in some odd runs, so we'll see. So let's see here. No more severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's go ahead and change our little text here, the scroll text. I'm sorry, I know I'm doing this on the fly here midstream, but breaking news. I just realized if I'm going to do that breaking in caps, I need to do news in caps. Breaking news. Oh, it's out? Okay. I'll check in a second. Hurricane Helen, we'll say Major Hurricane Helen, now expected to develop and make landfall within the next several days. Alright, so let's check this National Hurricane Center update. I still don't have it. Mine still says 11 a.m. Eastern. Sometimes mine's a little wonky. It still likes to show the old updates for some reason. Not sure why it does, but Cat 3, potential 115 miles an hour. Is that actually what it says? And I can't load it. It's so annoying. It's not what it says. No shifts to cone. Tropical storm warnings for the Florida Keys, really? Alright. Now we got tropical storm warnings, everybody. This is big. Okay, give me just a minute here. Shoot. We'll say breaking tropical storm warnings. Excuse me. Warnings just issued for Florida Keys. Okay. So, let's see if we can load this now. Still can't load it. Oh, watches. Okay. That makes more sense. I was going to say, warnings is a bit dramatic, considering this system hasn't even developed into a tropical storm yet. It's going to be a while, you know? So let's see here. Again, it's not popping up for me. It's so annoying. The watches haven't popped up yet on Radar Omega either. It's a little weird. Don't change it. What? Oh. I just realized the stream's behind for you. You might want to make sure that your stream's caught up, Mr. Storm. Because your chat messages are only coming in, like, a few minutes after things happen. Just try to refresh, I'd say. Cat 3115. Okay, it's not updating on Radar Omega. It's also not... My National Hurricane Center's not loading it. That's so weird, dude. For some reason it just does that. I don't know why, I can't explain it, but it does. This is quite an unfortunate time for that as well. Okay, there we go. Radar Omega taking the W in terms of speed here. Category 3 expected, and they do have it being a tropical depression through Illinois. Wow. So, Category 3, and again, guys, this is still so... it's still got another, 70 miles here to intensify. This could, again, is most likely, if we were able to see like a landfall sticker here, we'd probably see either a high-end Cat 3 or even a low-end Cat 4. That's wild. Tropical storm watches have not popped up yet, but we'll see. So again, if you're just not tuning in, We're now expecting a major hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico to make landfall later this week in the Big Bend of Florida. Again, if you have any questions about your location, leave them down below now. Now's the time. Okay, the cone's doing the thing where it glitches and it goes back. Red Omega does that a lot. It'll come back here in a minute, though. So, unfortunately, again, I can't... none of the watches are popping up for me. Are you sure they issued tropical storm watches? Yeah, tropical storm watches. I don't know why the 11 a.m. update's the only one that wants to come out. Let me do something really quickly. Let's see here. NHC. There we go. So I guess we'll just bring it up on here. So, again, potential tropical cyclone 9, expected to become a major hurricane now. Yep, they do have tropical storm watches for the Florida Keys. They already have their peak storm surge forecasts out for those areas as well, 1 to 3 feet. The rainfall outlook, we're expecting 8 to 12 inches of rain for portions of the Florida Big Bend and Panhandle. Also, we're expecting 12 to 6, the area I was talking about is actually 6 to 8 inches. And also, we're going to see 8 to 12 inches of rain potentially in portions of southwest North Carolina, northeast Georgia, northwest South Carolina, according to their newest outlook. And again, that'll likely intensify further as we get newer and newer updates. The tropical storm force wind probabilities, this is only over the next 5 days, and it's going to be right about 5 days whenever this makes landfall, a little less actually. They don't have that much confidence yet because it's still a little ways out, but 60 to 70% chance of tropical storm force winds for parts of the Florida Big Bend within the next 5 days. The hurricane wind probabilities are chilling at about 30 to 40% for parts of the Gulf, and then again 10 to 20 for parts of the Florida Big Bend and Panhandle. So anyway. Our update here with Hurricane John. It's a really weird name for a hurricane. It's such a normal name, but it's a weird hurricane name, you know. Again, we're expecting potentially a major hurricane landfall here near Coralero, Mexico. Luckily, nobody really lives out here, it doesn't look like, so. Again, people definitely do live in the Big Bend of Florida. So this is a pretty big deal. Again, we'll have more update streams in the next several days, but I think right here we're going to end things off. I do want to thank you all for tuning in. I just got home, so I got stuff to do. Sorry about that, but I hope you guys understand. Again, thank you, everybody that's new here, for tuning in, sticking around, and I'll see you all in the next one. By the way, I was going to say peace, but I just remembered we may have a stream out tonight for some of our storms in Arkansas if they do pop off and produce tornado warnings. So anyway, for real this time, I'll see you guys all in the next one, and peace.